Let me explain to you. Let me give you an example of a philosophical.
I don't think.
Let me give you a philosophical thing I read from my philosophical book, please. It was called From Socrates to Sartre, a pretty good book on philosophy. Okay, can I give it to you?
Yeah.
How hard would you like it?
You decide. Surprise me.
So Descartes was like... No, so there's this philosopher called Descartes. He was
Don't just start that hard and then stop. And
You like it when I do that. So Descartes was a philosopher. He was a pure rationalist. He rationalized the existence of God, and he believed that the only real, knowledge can come from thought, not from empiricism. And he once, to show this point, gave us an example where he took a piece of hard wax, like beeswax, right? And said, okay, this beeswax has a color, a smell, a taste, it has a texture, and it can be, sorry, what was it? Color, smell, taste, what did I miss?
I don't know.
Color, so it's sight, smell, taste, touch. Oh, and if you knock it, a certain sound is made, because it's wax, so it's like, it makes a noise, right? And then he would say, like, he'd show that to an audience, and they'd be like, yeah, okay, it's wax, and then he'd melt it, and then it would become a liquid. And the color would have changed. The texture would have changed because this liquid doesn't feel the same as a solid. Mm-hmm. The sound would have changed because you can't knock it on anything anymore. The taste and smell have also changed because the smell is gone and the taste is different. Right? So, is it still wax?
Yeah.
How? It's no longer perceivable as wax because you perceived it as wax.
It is if you put it under a microscope, isn't it?
You change perception. But even then, even if you looked at a molecule of wax, right? It would go from like this, and then when you heat it up, it would be like this.
It's still the same molecule, though.
This is true. But I'm talking about perception. You can't perceive a molecule.
You can through a microscope.
Electron microscope. And you can't see it like a picture. It's not like looking, like here's the molecule, you know.
I don't take science.
Balls. Okay, but...
Remember grade 10 science? In the time of...
Descartes lived 200-something years ago, so give him that, okay?
I was talking to you in grade 10 science.
Yes, you were. You were in my grade 10 science class.
You know what I
seem to recall you ogling me.
You ogled me.
You ogled me. You were behind me. How could I possibly ogle you?
You turn around all the time.
You turn around all the time.
What was your mark?
Oh, I don't remember.
You know what? I remember because I seem to recall getting the same mark as you.
What was my mark?
54.
I hated that bitch teacher.
Yeah, she's a fucking retard.
I had a worse teacher the next year, but anyway. Okay, so what I'm saying is Descartes argued that because we can perceive something a certain way, and it can change, all of our perceptions of it can change, and we still perceive it as the same way.
That's in front of my face.
And we still, graceful, and we still perceive it as the same object.
It's not my fault, I'm bendy.
Still perceive it as the same object, shows that our perception is meaningless. All that really matters is our thought that it is the same wax.
Your thought is based on perception.
We don't perceive it the same way though. If you were to show me a solid piece of wax and then a melted piece of wax, I might not even know that they were the same substance. If you had never seen wax before, you would be able to tell they were the same substance. Different color, taste, texture, everything.
There was some color.
No, they wouldn't. Hard wax is darker.
Depends on the wax.
Pretend it's a type of wax that's darker.
Yeah, but if you perceive it, you'd notice the difference, isn't it?
No, but assuming you didn't...
And you can't perceive the name of anything.
No, I'm not talking about the name. I'm talking about the substance. Anyway, what I'm getting at is Descartes...
But you don't perceive, like... You're not going to be like, this is wax and this is not wax. You're going to perceive what it looks like, what it feels like, what it tastes like, what all your senses. So what?
So is it the same wax?
Neither is wax. You can't perceive that it's called wax.
Okay. Is it the substance that is referred to as wax?
What?
Okay. I'm not saying it should spell the word W-A-X, wax. I'm just saying there's a substance that we call wax. That substance has characteristics, right? The characteristics of wax are that it's a certain color, taste, smell, texture, and everything else, right?
And after you perceive all those things, what do you use to figure out that it's wax? Logic. That's thought.
He was a rationalist. He believed in logic and thought. So you're arguing with him now.
No, I'm arguing that perception, you're not going to perceive that it is or isn't wax. You're not perceiving it either way because you can't perceive what it is or isn't. You can only perceive what you perceive.
That is a very David Hume argument. That was actually almost a verbatim quote of David Hume.
I don't even know who the fuck that is.
He was the guy who challenged Descartes. He was an empiricist, the exact opposite of him. He believed there was no knowledge that can come from thought because human thought is actually just like it's based entirely on perception, first of all. And he believed that an idea, which is like a thought, without a corresponding perception, is a meaningless and useless idea. For example, I can think of a teapot, and then because I can perceive a teapot, it is a meaningful idea because the idea is relative to the teapot. But let's just say I have the idea of a soul. I can never perceive a soul. Therefore, the soul is a meaningless and useless idea because it has no application in the real world because it can't be perceived. Yeah, he was an atheist.
Soul.
He was one of the first, well, not the first, I don't know. I don't know how many atheists there have been in history, but he's one of the more popular atheists in history.
Yeah, but
in fact,
don't think
actually,
either way.
funny quote from David Hume. Oh shit, I can't remember it anymore.
Whatever, I think both logic and perception are fallible because humans are fallible.
I'm not saying anything about fallibility. I'm not saying
you
humans
were
are
before.
Fallible. That was just for the sake of
before you
argument.
were like,
right
humans
now,
are fallible,
I'm trying to explain to you.
perception is
I'm trying to
fallible.
explain to you an argument by Descartes, and you're interrupting me.
That's
Descartes'
the point
argument,
of a debate.
The Descartes. No, it's not to interrupt people. Descartes' point. Shut up. Descartes' point was that because our perceptions can change and it can still be the same object, all that matters about an object that makes it the same object is what he called spatial extension, which is length, width, and height. It has to be a three-dimensional object that takes up
Your
space.
perception of that can change.
How?
I know
How
what
can
you're
something go from being three-dimensional to two-dimensional or four-dimensional?
You're schizophrenic?
No, that can't happen.
Yeah, I can.
How can you perceive
Have
something
you ever
two-dimensional?
hallucinated?
No. Have you ever perceived something two-dimensionally?
Yes.
How?
Drugs.
I don't mean like cardboard cutouts. I mean like, like here's my hand, and then all of a sudden like I turn it sideways and it's gone because it's two-dimensional.
Drugs.
Okay. So aside from drugs.
No, you're counting drugs.
Your mother counts drugs.
I get the best ideas when I'm high.
You're not allowed to talk about drugs on my channel. It's bad. Okay. So my point was that Descartes... I obviously have a counter to Descartes' argument because there's nothing that's left the wax, and there's nothing that's joined the wax. Therefore, nothing's left, nothing's joined. Therefore, it's the same same wax, regardless of how we perceive it to be. That's my counter to his, and it's an empirical one.
Heat.
Yeah, but that doesn't actually change the chemicals present in the wax.
You use logic to determine that. I can't remember what we're arguing anymore, though.
Yeah, me neither. We'll end it on this note. Knick-knack, paddywhack, keep it talking about.
No, remember, we're supposed to end it on the note. Subscribe to me because I'm a whore.
Subscribe to me because she's a whore. Subscribe to me because you guys are all whores. Did I get it right that time?
Mm-hmm.
Do this. See you guys later.